right. First, we're going to just take what are English communication skills? All right. And then we're going to look at successful disagreement. That's the topic today. I'm going to give you some look at the benefits, some tips. We're going to learn a framework for disagreement, okay? And then we'll have some of these phrases for disagreement as well. And then after, we're going to do an interactive activity. And it's one of those things you might want to like close the screen or run away. But I guarantee if you do that, you're going to be regretting it. You're like, I wish I had done it. And if you stay and do it, you're going to be really, really proud of yourself. I have the same thing when I go to Toastmasters or public speaking things. So little chance to be a little bit uncomfortable today and have fun. Questions. Feel free to ask questions in the chat and I'll try and answer them as we go along. So let's start with a question here, and I want you guys to participate if you can. What do you need to excel in English communication? What does it even mean? Maybe you can tell me, what do you think you need to excel in English communication? I think the first part's obvious. Clarity of thought. I like it. I like that. That's a good answer. All right. Being able to recognize what you need to say and be clear about what your point is definitely. Oh, okay. Well-defined outcomes. I feel like these are quite kind of similar too. All right. So I'm gonna go against the trend here. And I'm gonna put three things. I love it. Thomas is helping me. All right, all right. I like to think of it as three things. Okay, language, skills, and confidence. So the language is obviously English, and it means using the right words and phrases. So the foundation of communication relies on using the right words and phrases. As software engineers, you guys interact with diverse teams and clients. And whether it's explaining complex technical concepts, negotiating project timelines, or simply engaging in small talk, the right vocabulary helps you articulate your thoughts clearly and effectively. We've got the skills, okay? And this would be what we're talking about as far as our clarity of thought, our outcomes. For me, communication is more than just words. It's about how you convey them. So we can master various frameworks and techniques, and that's crucial. So presenting a new idea, actively listening to understand a client's requirements, or building rapport with your colleagues. These skills ensure your message is not just heard, but appreciated. And finally, confidence. Okay, confidence. We got to put it all together. What good are words and skills if they're not put into practice? So confidence is key, and it's about knowing that you have the ability to make yourself heard and to contribute meaningfully to discussions. And this is something that I love developing in the software engineers I work with. So regular practice, engaging in role plays, exposing yourself to real world communication helps to build this confidence. And something we also work on is public speaking skills, getting comfortable with being in front of the camera and creating an undeniable stack of evidence that will help show you that you can communicate well in English. So we're going to put all these together today for today's topic. Drum roll, successful disagreement in English. And let's see. Let's dive in here. On a scale of 1 to 10, put in the chat box, how comfortable do you feel disagreeing at work? Six. That sounds like an honest answer. Thanks. Six. Everyone's okay. Good. Six. Oh, Lenny's up there. All right. I'm guessing it's going to be a little bit situation dependent. Sometimes it's also cultural A cultural thing, a confidence thing. Nah. All right. Nice, nice. Damn, good answer. Okay. It is all about disagreeing. That's what the D's for, right? All right. So let's talk about why is it important to express disagreement? Maybe you guys can tell me why is it important? What are the benefits of disagreement? Let me know in the chat here. Let's see what you guys are saying. All right, I'll jump in here. So we can to make decisions. All right, that leads to better decisions, avoids useless work. All right, you guys are awesome. So yeah, better work outcomes. Oh, we've got more. Avoid misaligned actions, which is a worse form of disagreement. All right, it provides opportunity of moving knowledge forward. Good, displaying a different perspective. Lots of people are often quiet, more voices are needed. Hey, all right. I feel like we're all on the same page here. So that's great. I've got here better work outcomes. So when you and your coworkers push one another to continually ask if there's a better approach, that creative friction is likely to lead to new solutions. Okay. Opportunities to learn and grow. So as uncomfortable as it may seem to when someone challenges your idea, it's an opportunity to learn and for you to try new things and evolve. It can be uncomfortable though, but it's necessary. Here's one that I've found, a higher job satisfaction. So when you're not afraid to constructively disagree about issues at work, I think you're likely to be happier at the office. So you're not kind of feel like you're walking on eggshells. So you can be satisfied with what you accomplish and enjoy interactions with your colleagues. And finally, a more inclusive environment. Uh, if you want to have diversity and inclusion in your organization, you have to be prepared to disagree. Okay, so we've got different people, different ideas. We need to disagree, but we need to do that respectively. And I want to see, I like this down here. Oh, Sushil avoids bigger problems down the line. Okay, good. I think you guys covered that. So we've got a lot there. So here are a few tips for disagreeing at work. I'm sure you guys have some great ones too. So I'm going to go through these ones really quickly. First one is pick your battles. Okay. If you disagree about everything, your coworkers are going to just find you argumentative and disagreeable. So you'll develop that reputation for always disagreeing. And your reasonable disagreement will be viewed as the same old, same old. So pick areas that affect outcomes that are substantial, meaningful, and important when you pursue that disagreement. Keep disagreements impersonal. Okay, remember, you're disagreeing with the idea, not the person. Okay, so don't just remember you're not disagreeing with your coworker because you don't like them. You're disagreeing with the idea and if it'll work or not. Listen to your coworkers. And maybe I should put this first. When you're disagreeing, lead with listening. Okay, listen first. And I would add, even before you jump into a disagreement, pause for a minute, absorb it, because sometimes we listen to an idea. Some people are really eager to disagree, and sometimes we need to hold ourselves back so we can kind of put our thoughts together logically, which leads to the same thing. Stay calm and respectful, and see other points of view. If you identify what is at stake in the issue, you're more likely to connect with your coworker to disagree successfully. But again, I want to be interactive here. So what would you add? What would you guys add here? What any other tips for disagreeing at work? Maybe from personal experience?
I think one of the ideas I found useful is to find a way to support the idea first in some
Mm,
form
mm,
before you may not dislike the whole idea. You might like some project proposal. You might dislike certain part of it, but make sure you emphasize all the good part strongly. It again differs from situation to situation, but that could be something useful to remember.
Uh, I love it. I love it. And actually, one thing you really touched up on is generally somebody's idea isn't just nonsense. It isn't just crap. There's generally something good about someone's argument, idea or argument that you can find uh, something good in. So I really, really, really like that. And I should have included that in today's because exercise, but I didn't. Um, because there are certain phrases that you can use to acknowledge that a little bit better. So here we go. Oh, all right. Here's my framework for successful disagreement. First one is respect. And actually, what you just said there is that form of respect, finding something good about someone's idea. So when you respect, this means acknowledging what somebody said, acknowledging their idea, or maybe even acknowledging their just their stature as a software engineer, like as a person. So, I really respect you, or oh, that's a great idea. I see what you're saying. Second step, soften the disagreement. So here, don't just say I disagree or that sucks. Say something a little bit softer, a little bit more indirect. I'm going to go indirect here. Whereas in the third step, when you express your actual opinion, here I like to be more direct. You've been soft for the first two. We're going to be a little bit more direct. And then when possible, we're going to support our opinions with evidence. So that could be research that was done, that could be user feedback, that could also be your years of experience or experience working on the same thing at another on another project, another company. Okay, so we're going to use this. So that's the framework. 1, 2, 3, 4. Respect, soften disagreement, express your opinion, support opinion with evidence. And now what we need is the language. And I'm going to need your help here. Okay, I'm going to need your help. Oh, we got a sandwich. All right. What I want you to do, I'm going to give some phrases here. So phrases for respecting others and their opinions. First, yeah, I hear what you're saying. Just acknowledging what somebody said. I understand what you're saying. I get where you're coming from. You want to be a little more natural. Give me some more phrases for respecting others in the chat, please. No, all right. You have some good points. Yeah, you have some good points. Um, hey, I like that. Yeah, it's a great point of view. That's an interesting point of view. Cool. Thanks, Zubair. All right. So phrases for softening disagreement. Here, Raya, rather than just say I disagree, I like to do a little bit more indirect. Oh, thanks, Hemang. All right. Yeah, I'm not sure I agree. I have to disagree with you here. I'm afraid I don't agree. Or back to, you could, if you agree with part of what they said, you could say something like, yeah, I agree with you to a point, or I agree with you to an extent. And then we're going to give our opinion. Simple. I believe that. I think that. It seems to me that. And finally, maybe you guys can help me here. Phrases for supporting opinions with our evidence. We're going to go. Research suggests. Feedback from our users tells us. The data shows. Any other ways to support your opinions with evidence here? Do you find your gender in disagreement changes with gender roles? Personally, no. I don't distinguish in a, I, who I'm disagreeing with. Again, disagree with those ideas. And I find when you use a framework like this, it shows it's the point is to show respect, which you should do regardless of who a person is. Okay? So, yeah, I'm a strong no there. Any other oh, I pressed that. Any other phrases for supporting evidence, supporting opinions with evidence?
I think the experience is a crucial part. You can
Sorry.
quote your experience.
Okay,
I mean,
back
one
to
can
that one.
quote their experience, like, hey, this is in the past, I worked on this
Mhm.
project, and this is how it went.
I like that too. That's something I mentioned earlier. Yeah, using your experience. So yeah, based on what we did in our last project, or I saw this a few years ago. We tried this. Yeah, that's definitely, especially if you are quite experienced in something. As per the history. All right. So what we're gonna do here. Here's kind of the framework laid out a little more clearly. All right. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4. One thing I want to note here is there's a kind of a controversy in the communication world. And it has to do with the word but. Okay. A lot of people, they don't like the word but. So I hear what some people, they're going to say, I hear what you're saying, but I'm not sure I agree. And this is kind of frowned upon. It kind of contracts. I don't personally have a major opinion, a major problem with it, but I'm going to offer a solution. There's two ways to do this. One is to just use a pause. I hear what you're saying. I'm not sure I agree. That's generally what I do. But what I'm going to recommend you do is use and. So I hear what you're saying, and I'm not sure I agree. I understand what you're saying, and I have to disagree with you here. Okay. I think it sounds more gentle. So we're going to go through these. So these two are like a 1-2 punch, respecting others, softening disagreement. Then we're going to express our opinions. Okay. Get straight to the point here. So I believe that we need to do X. Based on the research, X will help us get to Y faster. Is that clear? Oh, Zubair. Okay, yeah. So it negates all the positive sentiment expressed before the but. How to avoid this not coming off as passive aggressive when saying this? Um, which which part, Zubair?
Yeah, no, just like in general, when these type of like conversations happen, it feels like a lot of times other people come off as like passive aggressive, and like other some people are just like, hey, like you're being like corporate or you're being fake, and like I've heard a lot of different things from different people on how they like feedback presented to them. So just like in general, like how do you do this? Like I know the way you said it, it sounded perfect, but when I've done it, like I've seen myself say but and like make it seem like I was being passive aggressive.
I think it's a good point, and which is why I would try and avoid using but because you can kind of sound a little bit grovelly. I hear what you're saying, but so owning your disagreement is going to be important, and having that confidence in your idea, in yourself, and your ability to express your disagreement. I think that's going to add to kind of that confidence you showed and avoid being passive aggressive. So I practice and practice kind of saying things like this. And we're going to practice in a few minutes. All right, I got some more questions here. Uh, what if you have a bias toward a person? How do you disagree with them? Ooh, good question here. Again, you need to put your biases aside. We all have biases, and recognizing that is going to be it's important, especially when you're working with other people and you don't actually particularly like them. Yeah. Thanks, Casey. Separating the medium from the message at the core. And I think that's just going to be part of being professional, is being able to, yeah, separate that message from the the medium from the message. All right, so action time.
I
Easier
wonder,
said than
Ryan, could I ask a question too, actually? Just
yeah,
curious.
please.
I feel like oftentimes with disagreement, there's a power dynamic where if I'm a junior engineer, it's actually harder to disagree with the tech lead or the director of engineering. And similarly, if I have, I'm the manager, I'm the lead, it might be a little bit more awkward or difficult to say, hey, you're coming in and presenting to me and you did all the work, but I still disagree with you. I want you to go back and change all the work that you've done in like this review. So I wonder if you have thoughts about, how you would incorporate like the power dynamic or the authority when it comes to disagreeing with people.
I'd actually like to ask you that based on your experience. How do you kind of navigate that? My gut tells me that, and having been in societies with stronger hierarchies, maybe I lived in China for 13 years, so there was definitely a hierarchy of who I could disagree with. And so I'm just wondering how you found that in the tech environment in San Francisco.
Yes, I think you're right that probably like I worked at Meta for a long time. I think they are famously like non-hierarchical. So they do like levels are deliberately private because they want people to not feel like, oh, I can't disagree with the principal engineer because technically no one knows who the principal engineer is. I think it kind of goes back to what you were saying about not choosing your battles. Like there are going to be people who have more social capital. If you're the principal engineer, probably people respect you inherently, or they know that you're good. And if I'm the junior engineer, I'm probably going to lose that battle. So maybe don't use up my social capital on disagreeing with that person. But I do think, yeah, it kind of also goes back to who's closer to the knowledge or who's closer to the project. Like if I'm the one doing all the work, I feel like I have more, and I've demonstrated that, then probably I can disagree with someone who's like at the 10,000 foot view. I have the authority perhaps to, even if they're higher up on the ladder, I can still disagree with them because I'm the one who's actually in the weeds coding this project or this feature.
That makes sense to me. One thing I would add, sometimes you're going to want to disagree. Sometimes you disagree and your gut's telling you you should do it, but then again, pick your battles. Here's an expression that can help you in your relationships or at work. It's just, you could be right. I use this a lot.
Yeah.
You could be right. Walk away, be calm, save yourself for another day. I think we all get emotional about things we're really passionate about sometimes too. So again, how we disagree is going to make kind of a difference. What? Oh, nice. Yeah. What data would you see to make change your mind? Yeah. All right. We're gonna do a little activity here. Okay. And some of you are gonna run away. I hope you don't. I'm going to put a worksheet in the chat and I'm going to explain it to you in a second. I'm going to put you in some groups, and what I want you to do is to introduce yourself to your partners. Okay. That's the first thing. Just, hey, I'm Ryan. I'm from Canada. I live in Amsterdam. In my position, I'm a communication coach for software engineers and I work for myself. Okay. You guys are going to have cooler things to say than that. And then we're going to go through each situation and we're going to alternate who reads the statement and who disagrees. So you're actually probably going to be in groups of 3 and I'm going to show you exactly how it works here. So here is the worksheet and I'm going to put it in the chat in a moment. So in this activity, you will practice disagreeing with your partner using the provided phrases and the counter evidence. And I just want you to get used to this pattern, okay? And so it becomes more natural to you. So if we go down here, here's an example, okay? I've given you a scenario, feature prioritization. Here's the statement that one person will say. I believe we should prioritize feature A for the next release. And the counter evidence, based on the research, feature B has shown a high demand in user surveys. So Participant A will read the statement. Very simple. Participant B is going to use the framework. So I understand what you're saying, and I'm not sure I agree. I think we should go with feature B. User feedback tells us that there is a higher demand for feature B. Okay. The main point of this exercise, get used to this pattern. Okay. Before I do that, are there any questions here? Is that clear? I'm going to join you in some of the groups. So I'm going to pop in and say hi. All right. Thank you, Hamani. All right. So I'm going to explain it one more time. We're going to, so you've got a scenario. So it'll look like this actually. Here, scenario, statement, counter evidence. One person's going to read the statement. The second person is going to use the counter evidence with the framework up here to disagree. So I hear what you're saying, and I'm not sure I agree. I believe we should go with feature B. Feedback from our users tell us feature B is in higher demand. And I will, thank you. All right, it sounds like we got it. So I'm going to load this up into the chat box here. All right, so here we go. All right. So everybody, first thing I want you to do is download this worksheet. So everybody do that right now, please. That would be fantastic. Because in a moment, I'm going to split everybody up into groups. And this is going to be the exciting part. So Rahul, should I just do the breakout rooms here?
Yep. I think you should be able to see the option for that on your end.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, I had to set that up beforehand. So we're gonna do 7 breakout rooms, 3 to 4 participants. Oh, I can do 2 to 3. I'm doing 3 to 4 participants per room.
Perfect.
Or would the 2 to 3 be better?
I think the 3 to 4 is
3 to 4. All right, let's do 3 to 4. And guys, have fun. Okay, I'm gonna press the button, create, and do I just all right.
And we'll be back in what, like I think you said how many minutes? Like 6, 7 minutes.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, let's do about 5 to 7 minutes. I'm gonna pop in and there's 7 rooms, so I'm gonna try and just say hi to everybody at once. Okay. All right. See you in the rooms, guys. All right. Just yeah. So did anybody have any questions? You can either ask me here or in the chat. If you want to ask live, that's fine too.
And I have a question. So
who's this speaking? Is
this is Prakash.
Hey, Prakash. Yeah.
I mean, this is a first, what we had in the activity, what we practice is the first round of disagreement, right? But the original person who's proposed the idea and somebody is disagreeing, how do you convince the other person? Like it typically goes on multiple rounds, right? Any kind of disagreement. It's not like people say one sentence and then, either they drop the project or drop the idea or accept the project, accept the idea. It goes on.
That's true, but you kind of have to start somewhere. So you're going to start off with if you're disagreeing with somebody, it's usually right after they've said something. That's when you're going to make that initial disagreement with somebody, and then it's going to go a little bit. There could be back and forth. I think you're 100% correct that you don't just say things and people. But as far as expressing your opinion, I feel like this is a good framework to get that out there rather than just sit and be quiet.
Right. No, I was thinking. I'm thinking aloud here. I probably not able to clearly articulate my question, but in one of the past scenario which happened with me, I was trying to figure out how to disagree with someone else's disagreement, and then how can I include the some of the suggestions or propose new idea or modify the idea which is acceptable to the other person. At the same time, keeps the original theme I had going of the whole project. So, but maybe I'll come back with a better way of asking this question. Let me think about it.
Okay. Yeah, I like to think out loud sometimes. So sometimes it's the best time. Get these out there. I see some questions in the chat. Any tips for what you can, and you guys can feel free to answer too, because you guys have a lot. I know there's a lot of experience between everybody here. So I don't want to feel like I'm the only one with knowledge here. So any tips what you can do ahead of time for if you know a disagreement clash is coming? A mediator. Oh, what I'm gonna ask it, Rahul. What put it in writing.
So, I mean, I can chime in, Ryan, if that's okay.
Yeah.
If I know a disagreement is coming, I think the first thing I think about is like, what's the impact? Like, how consequential is this decision? If it's like, should the color of the button be dark green or light green? Well, okay, I might have an opinion, but who actually cares? Like, what impact will have on my life, one way or the other? And that kind of helps me do some preparation. Like, if I really, really care, like this is going to change my life in some meaningful way, like I'm going to go out for funding or I don't know, something like that, then yeah, probably I'll do a lot more preparation. But I think that's like step one. It's like, don't just get emotionally involved just because you don't like the person or, oh, it feels important in the moment. Other than that, yeah, I think sometimes having a tiebreaker, I think what Kyle suggested, calling like a mediator almost sounds like, oh, we're kindergartners and we need some teacher to help solve it. I wouldn't like, that's not how I think about it. I would say more like just having another unbiased engineer in the room to help navigate some of these decisions. That can be helpful as well if you feel like you're at a stalemate.
I like that. I also back to just if you know something's coming, you know a storm's coming, breathe, stay calm. Don't let your emotions get the better of you, because that's going to really have the potential to affect your career negatively if you lose your control of your emotions. Is there any difference in terms of communicating disagreements based on the medium, like speaking directly or sending an email or sending a Slack message? Well, what we've got here, I would use for speaking. It's more face-to-face speaking here. I think if you had time to write things out, you could probably be a little bit more eloquent, but a similar structure is going to go on. Really show respect, provide evidence, be assertive with your your beliefs are. And I'm sure you're right here, Ramin. I think company culture matters. Amazon versus Google do it differently. What's your experience with that, Rahul?
I mean,
As far
I've
as
I've only ever worked at, like two bigger companies, Pinterest and Meta. And I do think, yeah, it does matter. Like I haven't worked at Amazon, but I think that is one of the things that is pretty famous for people who have maybe worked at Amazon, they can chime in. But it's like disagree and commit, right? I think that's the leadership principle from Amazon. It's like, even if you don't necessarily like the direction, just commit to all rowing in the same direction rather than people undermining, an effort. And I think at Google, they are kind of famously like they never fire anyone. Well, that's not true, but like they tolerate a lot of this like kind of bad behavior by employees. So I do think there's a big difference between those two. Yeah, so I think that's a good point from Ramin.
all right. Okay, I think we're gonna start wrapping things up here. But let's anything to add here? Okay. Sometimes I don't raise my disagreement when I see my disagreement can lead to overtime of the meeting. Wow. Oh my goodness. You just brought me right back to my meeting days and why I work alone. I've been there. We used to have lunchtime meetings. I worked at an international school, actually, and we had lunchtime meetings, and I wouldn't disagree because I wanted to get out of that meeting as quickly as possible. I just really felt that one there. Okay, so guys and girls, thank you very much for coming today. I just want to quick mention, I do offer a 10-week English communication program, and this is a more one-on-one, more customized, and you get more practice and individual feedback. I'm offering a 10% discount for anybody who's here, and that's also on the worksheet. Just if you want to message me, you can send disagreeing discount, and I'll know what you're talking about. And if you want to contact me, get a hold of me on LinkedIn and add me anyways. You can get this link on the worksheet as well. Or you can email me, Ryan@siliconenglish.com.